Hey everybody, Joe Joseph here for thedailysheeple.com, and this is your news shot. So here's defense1.com. They're highlighting Russia will build its own internet, citing U.S. information warfare. This is very interesting. This tells me that Russia is hedging their bets for something. They see something coming down the pipe that the average Joe Schmuckatelli might not see. And or they're just waiting for Mordor to fall. There's a lot of things going on right now. North Korea just tested another missile today that now Mad Dog Mattis says that it can reach anywhere in the world. Just a lot of saber rattling. There's a lot of fear mongering going on. And now you have Russia saying that they're going to build their own internet directory, similar to like DNS. Listen to this. It says, the Russian government will build an independent internet for use by itself, Brazil, India, China, and South Africa, or the so-called BRICS nations, in the event of, quote, global internet malfunctions. More precisely, Moscow intends to create an alternative to the Global Domain Name System, or DNS. Now, that's the directory, folks, that helps the browser on your computer connect to website servers or other computers that you're trying to reach. Basically like an operator, if you will. Now, the Russians cite national security concerns, but the real reason may have more to do with Moscow's own plan for offensive cyber operations. Because according to RT, the Russian Security Council discussed the idea during an October meeting, saying that the increased capabilities of Western nations to conduct offensive operations in the informational space, as well as the increased readiness to exercise these capabilities, pose a threat, a serious threat to Russian security. So why are they doing this, you ask? Well, Russia, along with China, has long pushed for national governments to assert more control over the DNS and net governance in general via the UN International Telecommunication Union, or the ITTU. Then as now, the Russians and the Chinese arguments were always rooted in national security. If you go to China, everything's very controlled. Okay, the internet, there is no internet outside of China for anybody that lives in China. Very, very hard to get any sort of external website traffic into China. Very difficult. Everything is internalized to China so that they can control things, so that they can control the narrative. They can make sure that their propaganda campaigns on their populace is effective. And you might say, well, you know, here in the United States, why, we're free and, you know, democracy runs, it just effervesces everywhere. And the streets are paved with gold. Why, we have no need for that kind of stuff. But it's happening here too. See, what we have is like a soft censorship, or even worse, it's covert in a way. See, people, through the widespread use of cognitive dissonance, you know, and these terms like, you know, we're defending freedom and democracy throughout the world. That was a Bernaysian term used during World War I, or right after World War I. You know, making the world safe for democracy. And they just kind of played on it, spin on it, you know, defending freedom and democracy throughout the world. We're not doing that. Not at all. You take a look at everywhere we've gone defending freedom and democracy, and it's certainly not that's left. It's basically a wasteland, if you will, run by warlords. That is what is left behind when an empire goes through and just ravages and pillages, which is what we do. Now, you might not believe that because that's not what you're told by the propaganda mainstream media, but that's exactly the truth. And so to control what you know, now they put this whole fake news narrative out there so that, you know, God forbid, if it doesn't come from a state-sponsored news organization, why then it has to be fake. It can't be real. And so here we have a very effective propaganda campaign here in the United States, although we can, talk to people and get Chinese websites, we can get European websites, Australian websites, Russian websites, it doesn't matter, It all depends on that level of control. North Korea is another country, very, very tight control. And you typically need that when you run things the way you do over there in North Korea. Because if you don't, and people are given even the slightest ability to think for themselves, that opens up a huge risk, some sort of populist uprising. A lot of people are starving. Okay, well, food's kind of important. People will riot over food or hungry children. So Russia here, like the other BRICS nations, seem to be hedging their bets to say, wow, something might be happening in the not so distant future, and or let's give us a way to be able to conduct commerce outside of a UN slant, US controlled internet. If we're going to do this, I guess Russia's saying, then let's go all in and let's have not just a different monetary system, but also the transmission system that we're conducting commerce on. Let's totally and completely make our own so that it limits the West's capability to hack and to manipulate things. So I see this as certainly a defense mechanism, as a control mechanism, but one that's rooted, if you ask me, makes a lot of sense. If you want to buck the Western Rothschild controlled banking syndicate, this would be one way to do it. My only thing is, if they do this, what is going to be the blowback from it? So stay tuned, folks, because it looks like things are going to get hot. China and Russia, along with the rest of the BRICS nations, looking to start their own internet, independent of the UN, US-based DNS system. I'm Joe Joseph. This was thedailysheeple.com's News Shot. Feel free to comment below and visit our website at thedailysheeple.com. # Wake the Flock Up. Have a great day, everybody.